Have you ever felt it? The moment she says, I'm fine, but somehow every little thing she does screams the opposite? Sometimes the heart speaks louder than words, and today we're decoding those subtle signs women give when they want you, even if they claim otherwise. Listen closely, because love often hides in the smallest gestures. There's something about a woman's eyes that speaks louder than her words ever could. You might hear her say she's not interested, that she's fine, or that she doesn't feel anything at all, but her eyes tell a completely different story. They have this subtle honesty, a quiet rebellion against the walls she puts up with her words. When she looks at you, even for a fleeting second, there's a depth in her gaze, a kind of warmth that lingers long after she turns away. It's in the way her eyes meet yours and then dart away, as if she's caught herself feeling something she shouldn't, or something she's not ready to admit. There's a softness there, a vulnerability that she might hide with a smile or a joke, but it's impossible to hide entirely. The eyes are unguarded, betraying every flicker of emotion she believes she's keeping secret. Sometimes it's in the way her pupils dilate when you're near, almost imperceptibly, but noticeable if you pay attention. It's not just a reflex, it's her body responding to your presence, drawn to you in ways her lips might deny. And it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's just a shimmer, a subtle sparkle, a slight widening of the eyes when she catches your glance. It's the kind of look that says she notices everything about you, even the smallest details you think go unseen, and yet she will never voice it aloud. And then there's the intensity in her gaze, the moments when her eyes lock with yours and refuse to let go. It's magnetic, almost uncomfortable in its honesty, as if her soul is reaching out to yours before she even realizes it herself. Her eyes reveal what she's afraid to say. When she's pretending to be indifferent, they betray tiny cracks in her armor, the quick glance that lingers, the fleeting smile that barely touches her lips, the way she studies your face when she thinks you're not looking. She might tell herself, and even tell you, that she's not feeling anything, but her eyes tell a different story. They carry her curiosity, her fascination, her unspoken longing. Even in crowded rooms, her eyes will find yours. She doesn't need to lean in or speak or touch. Her eyes will find a way to show the truth, tracing your movements, noting your expressions, memorizing the small quirks that make you unmistakably you. And then there are the moments when she looks away, deliberately, as if trying to convince herself she's not interested. But even in that act of avoidance, there's honesty. The way she glances back, almost secretly, the way her eyes seek yours in passing, betrays her internal struggle. It's as if her gaze is saying, I'm drawn to you even when I shouldn't be. There's a tension there, a push and pull between desire and restraint, between what she feels and what she thinks she must show. It's in the way she smiles with her eyes, even when her lips stay still. It's in the way her gaze softens at the mention of your name, or when she sees you laughing with someone else. There's a vulnerability in her eyes, a fragile honesty that slips through the cracks of her carefully maintained facade. There's a language women speak without ever uttering a single word, and much of it is through the smallest of physical gestures. The brush of a hand against yours, a light tap on the arm, or the way she leans just a little closer when she's laughing, these are all subtle signs of connection, of attraction, of care. It's quiet, often overlooked, but it carries more weight than words ever could. The gestures are unintentional yet deliberate, a reflection of how comfortable she is with you and how much she wants to bridge the space between your worlds. A touch can be fleeting, almost accidental, but the timing, the repetition, the context, these tell a story her lips might never speak aloud. There's a softness in these movements, a vulnerability that mirrors the desire she may not want to admit. And it's in these moments that her heart speaks the loudest. Notice the small ways she mirrors your posture without thinking, the way she shifts her body toward you even when sitting across a table, or how her legs might point in your direction unconsciously. These subtle alignments are her body saying what she's not brave enough to voice, that she wants to be closer, to be noticed, to be part of your world in ways she cannot yet articulate. Sometimes it's as simple as a hand brushing against yours when passing an object, a playful push that lingers just a moment too long, or the soft resting of her hand near yours on the table. Each gesture is a thread weaving a connection, a silent confession of interest, a hint that she is aware of you in ways she pretends not to be. Even if she denies any attraction, her body reveals the truth, and those who are observant enough can feel the warmth and attention radiating from these little movements. The small physical gestures are often paired with emotional cues, subtle but telling, a laugh that comes closer to you than anyone else's, the way she tilts her head while listening, the gentle resting of her fingers against your shoulder for just a beat longer than necessary. These gestures are her heart finding its voice when words are not enough. She may not say she likes you, may even tease you to hide her feelings, but her hands, her posture, her accidental touches, these betray her unspoken intentions. There's a rhythm to it, a pattern that emerges over time, revealing a level of care and attraction that is impossible to fabricate. Every slight nudge, every playful bump, every lingering handshake is part of the subtle choreography she performs unconsciously, inviting you closer, testing the waters, seeing if you notice the small signals she's sending. Even in crowded spaces, these gestures are amplified in their meaning. A gentle touch to guide you through a door, a quick brush of the arm as she passes by, the casual leaning towards you in conversation. These are markers of her attention, her interest, her desire to be noticed. They are intimate in a way words cannot capture, carrying weight and intention even when she acts as if they are random. The beauty of these small gestures is that they are often unconscious, effortless, yet profoundly revealing. They show a side of her she might be afraid to admit, a side that craves closeness, connection, and the acknowledgement of her feelings through proximity and touch. There's something quietly revealing when a woman takes the first step in reaching out to you. She might claim it's casual, that she's just making conversation or asking a simple question, but the truth is often much deeper. The act of initiating a conversation, whether through text, a call, or even in person, is a subtle yet powerful sign that she's thinking about you more than she lets on. It's easy to dismiss a single message as coincidence or a random check in, but over time, the pattern becomes undeniable. When she finds reasons to talk to you, even about trivial things, it's her way of carving a space for herself in your life, a way of keeping the connection alive, even if she won't admit her feelings out loud. Every hi or how are you carries more than just words. It carries a quiet hope that you'll respond, that you'll engage, that you'll notice her effort and return it with your attention. Initiating conversation is vulnerable. It requires courage, especially if she's trying to hide the depth of her feelings. She risks rejection, she risks awkwardness, and yet she reaches out anyway. That's why these moments are so significant. When she texts you first, she's choosing to insert herself into your day, to create an opportunity to connect, even if it's disguised as something casual or harmless. It might be a simple joke, a funny meme, or a random thought she wants to share, but beneath it lies intention. She wants you to think of her, to respond, to acknowledge her presence, and maybe even to spark a dialogue that lasts longer than just a few messages. Every word, every punctuation mark, every timing of her texts carries subtle cues about her interest. And if you pay attention, they reveal far more than any straightforward confession ever could. Even in face to face interactions, the signs are similar. She finds ways to approach you, to insert herself into conversations where you are, or to linger just long enough to speak with you. She asks questions that extend beyond necessity, questions that invite discussion, reflection, and a sense of intimacy. She remembers what you said the last time you spoke and brings it up again, showing that she's listening, caring, and thinking about you even when you're not around. It's a quiet form of devotion, a signal of interest that doesn't require bold statements or dramatic gestures. She's creating spaces to interact with you, crafting opportunities to be noticed, to be remembered, and to subtly deepen the connection she hopes you'll recognize. And sometimes it's the small, almost imperceptible cues that reveal the most. A pause before sending a message, a carefully chosen word, the way she laughs at your replies, or waits for your response before letting the conversation drift away. These are all ways she's testing the waters, gauging your interest, and showing her own. Initiating conversations is not just about talking, it's about the care and thought she puts into being present in your life. It's about her effort to reach out, even when it's easier to remain silent, and the courage it takes to make herself vulnerable, hoping that her attempts won't go unnoticed. Jealousy is never loud when it comes to a woman who is trying to mask her feelings, but it is almost always there in the smallest, quietest of gestures. She might smile when you talk to someone else, but her eyes flicker with a shadow of something unspoken, a subtle crease in her forehead, a slight tightening of her lips, a breath she didn't mean to hold. These are the moments that betray her, moments when her heart refuses to remain hidden, even if her words insist otherwise. She might laugh at your jokes while you're with someone else, but the sparkle in her eyes dims ever so slightly, or she looks away for a split second, as if trying to protect herself from what she doesn't want to admit. It's a jealousy that is quiet, almost imperceptible. But if you're paying attention, it's impossible to miss because it lives in the tension between what she shows and what she feels. Jealousy shows itself in ways that are not dramatic, not confrontational, but intimate in their subtlety. It is in the way she suddenly becomes more animated when you give attention to someone else, trying to compete for your notice without appearing obvious. It is in the casual questions she asks, almost as if she's trying to understand your interest in others while masking her own feelings. Her tone might change slightly, her laughter may become sharper, or her smile may feel a little forced. She's not yelling, she's not accusing, but her body and her expressions reveal an emotional undercurrent she cannot fully control. It's a quiet storm of emotions, a mix of longing, fear, and protectiveness over the space she wants to hold in your life, and it surfaces in these delicate, fleeting moments that are easy to overlook if you're not attuned to them. Even small acts like leaning in when you speak to someone else or touching your arm briefly to reclaim your attention are signals of jealousy in its most understated form. She might make a playful comment, teasing you about another girl, or she may subtly mirror your reactions, trying to draw you back into her orbit. Sometimes she withdraws, becoming quieter, more introspective, as if processing the surge of emotions she refuses to voice, letting her feelings simmer just beneath the surface. These micro reactions, the blink of an eye, the quick glance, the shift in posture, are all part of a silent language of jealousy, expressing what she cannot say, that she cares more deeply than she admits, and that your attention, your affection, your presence means more to her than you might realize. Jealousy also emerges in the way she remembers small interactions, in the way she compares herself unconsciously to others. She might notice the way you smile at someone, the way your voice lingers in conversation with someone else, or even the subtle energy you give to other women. Her reaction may be a quick sigh, a fleeting expression of hurt, or a slightly distant look that appears for only a moment. She doesn't confront, she doesn't accuse, because the jealousy isn't about control, it's about care. It's the heart trying to protect itself, to protect what it feels for you, without exposing the vulnerability that comes with admitting she wants more. The quiet jealousy of a woman is not an angry force. It is tender, fragile, and full of unspoken longing. There's a quiet kind of love that lives in memory, in the small details most people would forget. And that's exactly what it means when a woman remembers the little things about you. She doesn't just recall your birthday or your favorite coffee. She remembers the tiny, almost imperceptible details, how you like your pen held, the way your laughter changes when you're genuinely happy, the song you hum when no one's listening. These are the things that seem insignificant to the world, but to her, they are pieces of you, fragments she treasures and carries with her. When a woman remembers these things, it's because she's paying attention in ways she may not even realize herself. Her memory becomes a mirror of her heart, reflecting the care, curiosity, and affection she has for you. And every time she brings up something you once mentioned in passing, it's a subtle way of saying, without words, I notice you, I see you, and you matter to me. It's not just about remembering, it's the effort in remembering. She might surprise you by mentioning a tiny detail from weeks ago, something you barely thought anyone noticed, yet she tucked it away, replayed it in her mind, and waited for the right moment to bring it back into your world. It could be a reference to a story you told, a song she heard that reminded her of you, or even a small preference you casually mentioned. The precision with which she recalls these things shows that her attention to you is not fleeting or shallow. It is constant, steady, and deeply rooted in her interest and care. The little things she remembers are like breadcrumbs, leading to the truth she may not voice, clues to the fact that her heart is quietly invested, even if her lips insist otherwise. Her memory becomes a language of love in itself. She uses it not to boast or to prove anything, but to connect, to show that your life, your thoughts, your quirks have found a permanent place in her mind. When she notices that you prefer the window seat or that you have a soft spot for a certain dessert, it's not coincidence. It's attention, intention, and affection blended into actions that seem effortless. Even when she denies any romantic feelings, these memories betray her, revealing a depth of care that transcends casual friendship. She recalls the details that matter to you because, unconsciously or consciously, she wants to be part of your world in ways that words cannot express. Sometimes it's the subtle reminders she leaves behind, bringing up a movie she knows you love, sending you a link to an article she thought you'd like, mentioning something you casually complained about weeks ago. These are her ways of bridging the distance between you, of showing that she's been thinking of you, noticing you, and valuing the nuances of your life. The little things she remembers are her quiet, persistent presence, a soft, invisible thread connecting her heart to yours, signaling that she's paying attention in ways deeper than the surface, and that she values not just who you are, but the way you experience the world around you. There's a truth in the way a woman moves that often speaks louder than anything she says, a silent language that can betray the feelings her words try to hide. She might tell you she's fine, that she's not interested, or that she doesn't feel anything, but her body rarely lies. The way she positions herself around you, the small, almost imperceptible gestures she makes, the subtle shifts in posture, All of these are signals that contradict the story she tells with her lips. Her words are carefully chosen, rehearsed even, to maintain a sense of distance or control, but her body acts impulsively, instinctively, revealing a longing she cannot fully suppress. It's in the way she leans in when she speaks to you, even as she insists she's just being friendly, or in the way she tilts her head when listening, her gaze holding yours longer than necessary, as if trying to bridge the space her words have created. Sometimes it's in the smallest of movements, a foot tapping toward you beneath the table, a shoulder angling subtly closer, a hand brushing your arm more often than it should. These are micro expressions of desire and attention, unguarded moments where her subconscious takes over, expressing emotions she fears to admit. Even when she insists on her independence or denies attraction, her body will betray the truth in the details. The mirroring of your gestures, the way she unconsciously copies your tone or posture, the slight nervousness that surfaces when you are near. Every lean, glance, and unintentional touch is part of a silent confession, a code her body writes when her words refuse to speak honestly. There's a tension in these contradictions, a push and pull between control and impulse, between restraint and longing, and the beauty of it lies in the subtlety, the fact that these signals are not shouted but whispered, felt rather than seen outright. Her body language also appears in moments of vulnerability, in how she reacts when caught off guard. A sudden smile that falters when she notices your gaze, a hand covering her mouth as if to hide a truth, or a slight stiffening of posture when she senses your attention, all of these betray her inner state. She may insist she doesn't care who you talk to or where you go, but her body reflects the opposite, a delicate mix of curiosity, protectiveness, and silent hope, even casual gestures like adjusting her hair when you look at her or crossing and uncrossing her legs when you approach, carry layers of meaning that words cannot convey. Her body becomes a canvas for her unspoken emotions, painting a picture of desire, attention, and connection that contradicts the narrative her voice insists upon. In conversation, her body often tells the story she tries to hide. The way her hands move as she speaks, the small shifts forward when you laugh, the unconscious leaning in to close the physical and emotional distance between you. These gestures are signals that she wants to be closer, to be noticed, and to be acknowledged. Even when she protests, laughs off her interest, or diverts the topic, her body remains honest, subtly betraying feelings she cannot or will not put into words. These contradictions between speech and movement are the quiet confessions of the heart, revealing a depth of attention, care, and unspoken longing that words alone would fail to capture. Sometimes the heart speaks in whispers when the lips are silent. The lingering glances, the small touches, the messages she sends first, the quiet twinges of jealousy, the memories she keeps, and the subtle ways her body leans closer, they are all fragments of a truth she cannot fully say. Love often hides in the smallest gestures, in the moments we almost overlook, in the details that feel too delicate to notice. It's not always in declarations or grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the eyes that seek yours when she says she's fine, the touch that lingers longer than it should, or the careful attention she gives to the things that matter to you. If you learn to watch, to feel, and to understand these signs, you'll realize that words are only part of the story. The heart communicates through subtlety, through movements, through memories, through glances, and through moments that seem insignificant until you see the pattern they form. It's in these quiet confessions that the truth resides, in the vulnerability she tries to hide, and in the love she expresses without ever saying it aloud. Paying attention is all it takes to see what she cannot yet admit, to understand what she cannot yet voice, and to feel the depth of emotion that her words alone might never reveal.